Being a busy real estate broker, small business owner, and family man in the Pacific Northwest means I'm always out and about, trying new food, visiting interesting places, and meeting great people. I wanted to share some of my favorite explorations and conversations with you. I'm Jeff Costello, and this is Explore Northwest. I'm here with Susan Dibble, the Executive Director of Page Ahead. Thank you for inviting us into your business.
You're welcome.
Will you tell us a little bit about what Page Ahead is?
Sure. Page Ahead is a children's literacy nonprofit, and we were founded in 1990. And our mission is really to inspire children to want to read, to be excited about reading, and to be good at reading.
How can we help? How can we contribute to Page Ahead?
Well, there's a number of ways people can get involved. So number one, of course, is financial contribution. We rely heavily on volunteers. We're a really small staff here at Page Ahead. There's only 5 of us. And so to be able to do the work that we do, we rely on literally hundreds of volunteers every year.
So how important is it as a parent to get my children reading early, and how early is too early?
Okay, it's never too early, even when they're in the womb. There's a lot of studies that show that if you are reading and they hear the voice, that's really important. Getting your children reading really centers around you reading. So when they're really young, you want to do shared book reading, find books that are fun. When they're really young, I would focus as a parent on books that you enjoy, because your child isn't really going to have a lot of ability to share their tastes and their interests with you when they're little. A child needs to be reading at grade level by the time they complete 3rd grade, or they'll never catch up. And that's really a big deal, because when you're in 3rd grade, there's this thing that happens where you go from learning to read, so all this time you've been spending learning to read, and then you get to 3rd grade and you really need to start reading to learn. So now you're using the skills you have to acquire new information. So you're not going to do well in social studies or science or any of those other classes, because you aren't able to read well enough to acquire the information you need to do any of the activities, any of your homework, learn anything else. So that's why a lot of times when you see kids later on where they kind of are struggling with school, they're often actually struggling readers. They're not really struggling students. And that's where we really are trying to use our programs to try to get kids reading at grade level before that 3rd grade period, so that they have success in school and in life.
Susan, tell me a little bit about what you love about Seattle and the greater Puget Sound area.
Oh, well, I moved here because I thought Seattle was one of the best places I'd ever visited in the U.S. And I think that it's also one of the most generous. So part of the reason that Seattle has been such a great place to be is because I'm able to combine my own personal interests like gardening and hiking and skiing with my professional interests, which is in the nonprofit world. And Seattle is home to a lot of nonprofits. I think a lot of people know that. And I think in part it's because the people of Seattle are so generous.
Tribeca Northwest Real Estate would like to say thank you to Susan and your team here at Page Ahead for inviting us into your organization and sharing with us what we can do to share your message with the greater Puget Sound area. For more information about Page Ahead or Seattle or any Pacific Northwest neighborhood, please check us out at tribecanw.com.